Out of order, James Kalita here today. What happened in Australia? I am very saddened for the people being held hostage in the chocolate cafe and for their families that are having to endure this. And I'm especially saddened because this could have been avoided. Disarming citizens is never a way to make them safer. It always puts them at risk. One of the tenets from the art of war is to attack where your enemy is not. Now, another way to say that is to say, attack where your enemy is weak. And still another way to say that is to say, attack where your enemy has been disarmed. Now, proponents of gun control in the United States blame its failures on a lack of continuity between the states. New Jersey has some of the strictest gun control laws in the country, and yet Newark and Camden have some of the highest rates of violence. Chicago has some of the strictest gun control laws in the country, and again, some of the highest rates of violence. California, again, some of the strictest gun control in the country, and yet LA, some of the highest rates of violence in the country. And the excuses offered by gun bigots and gun control advocates is that it's because criminals can travel to neighboring states, acquire firearms easily, and then bring them back to their more restrictive states. Well, setting aside the fallacies in that, as in, for starters, the neighboring states tend not to have high crime rates, but setting aside those fallacies, Australia is an island. The entire continent of Australia has extraordinarily strict gun control laws. They've banned all semi-automatic, all pump action, and weapons. And this is very, very strict. The procedure to acquire firearms there is very difficult, and their storage requirements are devastating to your ability to provide self-defense for your life, liberty, and property. Now, what we're seeing today is an opportunistic terrorist taking advantage of a state-imposed restriction on the citizen's ability for self-defense. Even if you're among the population that believes it's impossible for individual citizens to acquire a level of training to adequately defend themselves with a firearm, just the presence of a firearm makes, or the possibility of a presence of a firearm, makes an area a less desirable target. That's why, regrettably, in this country, so many of our targets for terrorism are schools. Because obviously the students aren't armed, the teachers aren't armed, the principals aren't armed, and there's no security staff. We arm the security at banks, we arm armored car drivers, we have armored police roaming around the streets, but our most precious things, our children, are left unguarded and unprotected. Now, shortly after the Sandy Hook tragedy, a relative of mine got very upset with me and said, children should not live under the threat of guns, or the threat of violence. The thing is, we all live under the threat of violence. What we can do to our children, the gift that we can give them, because we cannot give them safety, but we can give them training and education. We can teach them how to defend themselves, how to defend their life, liberty, and property. This is Out of Order, James Kalita, reminding you the state is too dangerous to tolerate, so don't.